the biggest hurdle I had, which was nobody's fault, was getting people to realize I'm no longer Noah the baseball player. Now it's Noah the realtor.
Right.
And that took, especially being back in my hometown, probably 4 or 5 years of just consistently working it and marketing it and developing we've got our hashtag Zipko sales is kind of the brand. And so I had to tell my mom, quit telling people I'm coaching baseball. Right. I'm like, just tell them I'm selling houses. That's it. Just Zipko sales. That's it. And now that brand is very well known to where now I'm like, yeah, you can tell people I coach. Like, that's all right. And they're like, oh, did you play? Because now they think of me, they think of real estate rather than, oh, is he still doing the baseball thing?
Today we have Noah Zipko, brokered by Remax & Compass. Noah has been selling real estate since 2013. His career sales volume is over $80 million, and in 2024 alone his production was over $13 million. In 2017, Noah was honored as a Coldwell Banker 30 Under 30 Award recipient, a testament to his success in sales, philanthropy, and leadership. He also received the Realtor of the Year award at Coldwell Banker College Real Estate from 2017 to 2023. He was also honored as a 2020 recipient of Murray State's 22 Under 40, which recognizes the most influential, innovative, and inspiring alumni from his alma mater. He was also honored as a 2020 recipient of Murray State's 22 Under 40, which recognizes the most influential, innovative, and inspiring alumni from his alma mater. Welcome to the show, Noah Zipko.
I appreciate y'all having me on.
This is going to be a fun one.
Well, of course it is.
It's going to be a fun one. Daniel, I don't know if you know much about Noah, but like getting to know him over the course of the few years, like I think we met during COVID and we did a Zoom call. That's when I had to transition over to Zoom and not in person. And, it was very like I had already known you my whole life when we started talking. You're just a very personable guy and kind of a jack of all trades. Like, great real estate agent, great community person, great family man, great athlete, like hell of a golfer. Actually, it's kind of irritating sometimes. but yeah, man, it's like there's not a lot of stuff that you are not good at, man. So, congratulations on we're just concentrating on the real estate side of things, but congratulations on being able to grow such a great business and provide so much value to the community in which you live and reside. So.
I appreciate that. And the secret is you only do a handful of things. That way all the stuff that you're not good at, nobody finds out about it. So I try to limit the amount of things I do, like a handful. So.
Yeah, there you go. Well, welcome to the show, man. And we'll kind of just dive right in. So, when we first sit down with somebody, we want to get to know you a little bit and get to hear your background on how you got into the industry. And but this is big with Daniel. And I speak for myself as well. I'm a big family man as well. But like we got to know about the family, man. Tell us about yourself and about the family.
Yep. So I've got my wife, Heather, and then we've got a 4.5-year-old daughter, Blake Madeline,
Nice.
who I feel terrible for my wife because she looks like dad and acts like dad. So she's already started T-ball. She's been doing jiu-jitsu for a couple months now.
Wow.
That's something I've been doing for a few years. And as soon as she turned 4, I didn't realize she was still the youngest by a year or two.
Wow.
So she's in there with like 6, 7, and 8-year-olds, but she's a tall girl. And so I take her to the first class and she just got smashed, which it was great though, because it's a controlled environment. And my wife is like, how old are the kids? I'm like, they're around the same age. And she goes to a class. She's like, they are not close to the same age. Like they're 2, 3, 4 years older. I'm like, well, as long as she's there. But the progression she's had just in the few months, because she watches the older kids.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of fun to help her. Me being a coach as well, I try to not coach her. I'll look at the other people because just to get out of that comfort zone. So I'll purposely go to the other side of the mats if she's working on something, and have one of the other coaches help her, just so she gets out of her comfort level.
Yeah.
But that's been fun. My wife Heather, she is also my assistant.
Nice.
So she's the brains behind the operation. We'd all be in big trouble.
They always are, man.
Yes,
They always are.
she runs the house and she takes care of everything behind the scenes. So
her.
it's nice to have her around.
Yeah.
She's big. We're a big fitness family. So she does CrossFit. She's a psycho every day. So she's up. I think
psycho about working out, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, hey, yeah. Exactly. Everything else is beautiful. Yeah. Perfect. But no, she's up. I think at like 3:20 every morning.
My goodness.
Goes to CrossFit. Starts at I think the class starts at 5, so she may get down there a little early to run or just get warmed up. So she's home by 6:30ish, and then Wednesdays and Fridays I'll head down to jiu-jitsu at 7. And so like by 9 a.m. we've both had full days. Mm-hmm. And normally if it's not jiu-jitsu, I'm up in the office in the morning.
Yeah.
But then, the caveat with that is she may be sleeping by 8:30 at night.
Sure.
So
no doubt, man. 3 in the morning.
But she is, when it comes to just like dedication and consistency, like she wins. I'm like, that is a whole different, like business and whatever it is, you have to have that consistency and that dedication. But her with even when we're on vacation, she looks up different gyms to go to, and she'll go pop in. So it is, I'm like, I need to do better because she's showing me up. So it's helped me grow and get more disciplined in everything, because I'm like, I can't, she's got the dedication. I need to do better.
Well, that word discipline, man, it seems like it's really flowing from your family. And I think that the two words that I was thinking about when you said all that was discipline and confidence. Mm-hmm. With your little one, all of that with the older kids, all that's going to help her do is just build confidence. Mm-hmm. And that's for me with little girls, that's my job as a dad. Like, if I'm not here, I want my girls to be confident and powerful and strong, so good for you, man.
100%. Yeah. It's fun and then actually Heather just started jiu-jitsu as well.
Yeah.
So
no.
Yeah, we're all in trouble now.
Family of ass kickers. Sorry, we're not supposed to.
No. It's fun. It's and it's just it's one of those. Everybody kind of has their own journey with it. I got into it about 3 years ago. Actually, so my wife also played college volleyball. So we were at one of her old college teammates' weddings, and just kind of shooting the shit with people, meeting people, and we started talking about my watch, and that led into, what do you do? I'm in real estate. He goes, I just opened up a jiu-jitsu gym. And we're in Northern Kentucky, so I'm thinking it's somewhere in Cincinnati. I'm like, man, I've been wanting to try it. I've heard a lot about it. Where are you at? And he goes, I'm up in Ross. I'm like, I'm in Oxford. This is perfect. So it took a couple, we exchanged numbers, took a couple weeks. I didn't appreciate that the gym had just opened. It's Hone Academy of Jiu-Jitsu, Honne. But our owner, Sean, our black belt, he had just opened that just a few months prior. So I didn't appreciate I was one of the, kind of in that core group of guys who started with it, and now it has grown in the last couple of years. I think we went from like 8 members to, I want to say, between kids and adults, like 80.
Wow.
It's something like that. And so it's a fun thing to watch him grow that and be a part kind of from ground zero.
Yeah.
So and now getting the whole family involved, because he knows me being a baseball coach. I told him when springtime hits, between selling season and at the ball field, like it will be tricky. So we start doing morning classes. So we got a little more time to continue to train all year round. So it's
great.
It's a good setup down there.
Good for you, man.
That is awesome. What a small world that you guys were both so far from home, and yet it's like, it's right up there.
Yeah. He's like, right. He's like, you know where Ross is? I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Like, you messing with me right now?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Why?
Who'd you buy your house through?
Right. Well, if it's Mingus. Our good buddy Mingus. I'm like,
God. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Too funny.
So, but it is, so we do that. And, kind of like I said earlier, there's only so much time in the day to do things. And so it kind of got boiled down to, fitness, whether that's jiu-jitsu, working out, Heather with CrossFit, love to be outdoors. So what, hunting, fishing, camping, hiking, whatever it may be, and then working, selling, and then mixing in when it's springtime. I'm one of the assistant varsity baseball coaches for Talawanda High School.
Okay.
So between those things, that takes up, and then mix in a couple rounds of golf every time, every
at least once a year.
Yeah, at least once a year for a scramble.
Nice.
So,
well, that's awesome. So you've been licensed since 2013.
Mm-hmm.
So what did life look like before that?
So I got into the business right out of college. So growing up, I was a big baseball player. And so I think coming out of high school, we had 5 or 6 Division I offers, and just, went to that with the idea of making it a career.
Wow.
And so I ended up at Campbell University down in North Carolina my freshman year, because everybody, I had a lot of offers from schools around here, but if you get a chance to go down south,
Heck yeah.
you go down south.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and had a really good scholarship heading down there. So went down there for my freshman year. Ended up transferring. Unfortunately, they didn't have the transfer portal like they do now, and all the NIL stuff. So at that time, you couldn't go Division I to another Division I school without sitting out for a year, or you could go to a junior college. So I ended up at Wabash Valley Junior College in Southern Illinois, which was some of the best baseball we had played. Like half the team was from either Puerto Rico or the Dominican.
wow.
And it was just the rules with junior college are much less strict. So we would play a whole fall season, 20, 30 games in the fall. There's no rules on how many hours you can have on the field, anything like that. So it was just, you got to really love the sport because you were baseball and at class, because there wasn't much else to do.
Yeah.
So it was there, and within a couple months of being there, I had secured another scholarship to Murray State down in Western Kentucky. So that's where I finished up my junior and senior year, and then didn't really know what I wanted to do. I started out as a exercise science major when I was at Campbell, because my dad is a chiropractor. He and my mom work together. They've been in business up in Oxford for I think almost 40 years now.
Wow.
And so that I was thinking trainer or whatever, and made it one semester, and me in chemistry, I'm like, that doesn't my brain doesn't work. Like whatever that is, I do not get it. So after that semester, I'm like, well, I've never tried business before, but a lot of it just kind of seems common sense, like with the way I operate. So ended up switching over and graduated with a marketing degree.
Okay.
And I believe I got an associate's from Wabash. Not sure what it is in, so I tell people I've got multiple degrees, just don't know what the one is. So, but I ended up with a marketing degree and really enjoyed that, just because it just came very natural to me. Like, well, of course, if you want these products to sell more, you're going to put them in the front, or whatever it may be. So just rather than fight it, I'm like, let me see what my brain and personality clicks with, and we'll just ride that wave. So didn't know. I remember we were in playing Tennessee Tech. We had a weekend series down there, and it was a rain delay, and I was sitting in my parents' hotel room, and they said, hey, if baseball doesn't work, what are you thinking? And I'm a senior in college. I'm like, I don't know. And that's I'm like, I'll figure it out. Like, I'm not going to not do something.
Right.
And so I kind of looked into like being a game warden, just because I enjoyed, hunting, fishing, being outside. And they had said, well, do you see what, kind of what the salaries are on that? So I looked it up, and I had zero concept of money, because my job growing up was to play ball. Like, we got college paid for, pay as long as you're doing that, that's your job.
That's good. Yeah.
And so I learned a lot of the stuff that I still use today from those experiences, but I didn't know, 30 grand or $4. I'm like, is that good?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And so then my dad had brought up, well, what do you think about real estate? And same thing, I have no idea. He goes, well, you can make as much or as little as you want. And what really sold me on it, at the time, I was not a very complicated man, still not, but he goes, you can go deer hunt anytime you want. And I'm like, done.
Sold.
Yep, that was it. So there wasn't like this deep thought, what do I want to do with my life? It was, I can go deer hunt. So
I can revolve this job around my activities. Yeah.
And that is what it was.
Yeah.
So I graduated. I took 2 classes over the summer in the fall, and then graduated in the fall of 2013. and came home, and I think I started classes in October over at Hondros, and did I think it was like the 4 weeks, the fastest way to get it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because I had nothing else going on. So it was 11, 12, 13. So I got licensed November 12th, 2013. Wow. So jumped right into it, and that was kind of the start of how I got into it and the timeline. So I always joke, I'm like, I've never had like a real person job. Yeah. I just keep faking this and it keeps working.
It's working.
Yeah.
It's working really well too.
That's awesome.
Dang. Well, it doesn't surprise me because you're so active in the community, and you talk about just being outside. Like naturally, you're going to run into people, and you're a very personable person. The one thing that I've always learned in real estate is if you cannot be weird, as long as you're not weird, you can be successful in real estate. And it's the people that can talk to people and just be normal that tend to do really, really well in this industry. And then the fact that you're so active in the community is, talk about that a little bit. I mean, because it may not necessarily commute to a sale being a baseball coach, but people have that label of Noah is a real estate agent and my kids are around him every day. Like, and naturally they're remembering you now as a real estate agent, but also a community guy, talk about it a little bit and the dynamic of it all.
And it's funny you bring that up because when I was 23 when I got licensed, and so I was living at home, no bills, whatever. But during that time to make money, I was doing, I got a call from one of the parents whose kid I knew just growing up and asking if I could do hitting lessons with them. So that is kind of how I got the start of being in the community. Was I was doing probably anywhere from 8 to 10 hitting lessons a week, and at that time it was like $40 an hour cash.
Yeah.
So I'm living at home, no rent, got a little beer money, along with putting stuff into the business and figuring out this real estate thing. And I had also, the head baseball coach for Talawanda, he found out I was back in town, so he called me and said, "Hey, we need an assistant coach. Is that something you'd be interested in?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I got nothing but time right now, and I'm trying to build this business up." Yeah. And so started coaching and real estate all at the same time, and then doing those hitting lessons just to help bring in some income. So that's what kept me going there for a while, because I think my first year of real estate, and I tell people, you get through that first 24 months, you're going to be all right, but it's rough. And I went back, so I've got Excel sheets, we track everything. So even from 11 years ago, I made $1,900 my first year.
Wow.
So it was like, okay, and in my brain, it was, okay, what's working, what's not, and it was not from a lack of effort. I think we wrote like 15 or 20 contracts. I had somebody pass away on counter offers. Like, it was just, I'd go into my broker and she's like, "What happened now?"
Wow.
And she goes, "You've had more stuff happen to you in 12 months than most people have happened to them in 5 years. Yeah, so she's like, crazy. You're good." And I looked at it as, this is the least amount of money I'm ever going to make. So if I can figure it out from here, then, we're only going to continue to grow. And that is one of the testaments of, especially with baseball, they talk about it's a game of failure. And so I never had that fear of failure. I was like, I was so good at failing, they paid me to go to college to play baseball. Like, I'm good at it. And it's that they always joke, like, baseball players have short memories. And real estate's no different. There's, you meet with people and everybody knows, I think I said now, people know 7 agents in their life now, just between social media and different people being licensed. So you're not going to win all of them. And it's like, did you do everything right, or was there something you could learn from? Yeah. So it's not a like, oh, I'm mad at that. Like, no, is there something I could have done better? Sometimes you can't control it. And I tell our high school guys, hey, if you smoke a ball and it goes to the shortstop, like you did everything right and you're out, you're good. You're 1 for 1. That's you controlled everything that you can control. And when it's outside of that, you just got to let it go.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was one of those, I think, like I said, it was like $1,900 my first year. But I was learning it's really how to fail, but also like what's working. I'm meeting a lot of people, staying consistent with things. And then that turned into, okay, I want to do a deal a month. So then we went from, like 1.5, I had a couple referrals and like 1 deal close. And then we went to 12 deals. And then we went to 18 deals. And so you started, really putting in that building block and that sturdy foundation of being in the community, coaching. And the biggest hurdle I had, which was nobody's fault, was getting people to realize I'm no longer Noah the baseball player. Now it's Noah the realtor.
Right.
And that took, especially being back in my hometown, probably 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Of just consistently working it and marketing it and developing we've got our hashtag Zipko sales is kind of the brand. And so I had to tell my mom, quit telling people I'm coaching baseball. I'm like, just tell them I'm selling houses. That's it. Just Zipko sales. That's it. And now that brand is very well known to where now I'm like, yeah, you can tell people I coach. Like, that's all right. And they're like, oh, did you play? Because now they think of me, they think of real estate.
Right.
Rather than, oh, is he still doing the baseball thing?
Right.
So that was the biggest hurdle, was creating that brand.
Yeah.
So that way, it's that top of mind.
Yeah.
Right.
And once we had that, I'm like, all right, now we're good.
And staying consistent with it.
Yes.
Which is key. That's awesome that you did that. It's really great.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I think 4 or 5 years, that honestly isn't too bad to me. I mean, it probably felt like forever at the time.
Right.
But like, yeah, to go from being so well known for baseball to being known as the real estate agent, and to have done it that quickly, I think that's pretty impressive.
And being young.
Right.
That was. I mean, it helps. When you're bald at 25, I'm like, yeah, that's that season right there. Yeah. So, but I had even
25.
Yeah. Right.
Did I say 25? I meant 38.
Yeah. Like what do you do? Like what? But it was one of those, almost overcompensating in terms of how I dressed.
Yeah.
To just prove, I remember I bought because we had a big farm truck that I drove around. Everybody knew it, but I was in Cincinnati a lot, just Westchester, and baseball roots like we're all over the city and still are.
Yeah.
So I remember it was an all black 2002 Mercedes sedan, and it was like $7,000, but it had who's this young guy pulls up in a Mercedes? Plus, he got better gas mileage.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it was just the perception of, he must know what he's doing. And so we drove that thing into the ground. It was, but just no matter how you look at it, it is kind of a game. And so you can it's like you can either embrace it, and it's not everything is fair, but if you don't at least acknowledge it and use it to your advantage, then you're just being ignorant.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't have to like it, but it is there. And people look at you a certain way, and people do this. And then I went through a phase where I was the name was known, so I was almost underdressing just to prove a point. This is what we do. Here's our results. I can show up in whatever I want.
Right.
And now it's fun because we've been in it over 10 years. Husband, father. Now it's kind of like you've proved the point. You're there now. You're the professional. Be the professional.
Right.
So, I really enjoy where we're at right now. Especially I asked my wife there. I said, I don't think we're not like the young couple anymore. She's like, no, you got to your dad, husband. We've got a 4.5-year-old. You're like a real person now.
Yeah. You're like an actual grown up, man.
Yeah. I'm like, I want to be telling people. She's like, I don't think you got a choice there. So it's like kind of that turn the page of the next stage of, hey, we're really hitting our stride, hitting our prime. And it's fun. 20s were great because we were doing well and we were traveling, but being dad and husband and sharing those experiences, this is definitely,
there's nothing better.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
that's great.
What does your dad think now? Is he like, told you so? Knew you'd be good at this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and he was on the track and field team at Miami.
Okay.
So he threw the hammer and the discus, and he's actually throwing the hammer now in the senior division. So I know he was ranked nationally, and he may have been ranked in the world.
Whoa.
For like the 60 and over or whatever. But we joke and it pisses my mom off. But I go, well, yeah, we're supposed to do well. That's if you win, it's like, well, yeah, that's why you're doing it. So I always joke if we didn't win, that's why I got really good at not losing, because it's expected that we're not going to suck.
Yeah,
and she's like, you make it sound so bad. I'm like, well, no, but it's the expectations of, and I do joke because there was no pressure. It was all, I wanted to be the one to go out and do well and succeed and all that. But it is fun to poke fun at her because when I do something well, my dad's like, well, yeah, that's what he's doing it for.
Yeah. Right. Well, and I think that mentality is key because it's never too high. You're never too low. You're staying right on plane. so that like when you sell your first house as to when you sell your 100th house, you're still here.
Yep.
You're still, rational thinking. You're still doing your job. Or your first home run to your 50th home run.
Yep.
Like act like you've been there before.
100%.
And that's my problem. That's a whole nother podcast. But like that's my problem with sports today. It's like you hit a home run and it's like flipping the bat and doing all this and celebrating. And it's like, Aaron Judge is like the one guy that I look at who hits it, runs the bases, and goes to the dugout.
Yep.
And I'm like, if everybody just did that, then, and I think that relates so well to life and business as well, and the fact that you're able to stay so even keel is a tribute to your success as well, because once you let it get to your head and you're on the rise,
yep,
then it's like you're comfortable. And comfort's like
it's terrible.
Yeah.
And we've been through that stage of we're good.
Yeah.
And kind of the game plan was I was like, I'm gonna bust my butt till the time I'm 30.
Yeah.
And then it should be, it's like the system should be in place, smooth sailing. And I did get a little complacent, and actually golfing with you and riding in the cart with Mingus, because my wife's like, does Tyler deal with the same stuff you do? And I'm like, yeah, but watching him embrace the phone calls and embrace the work rather than, why are they calling me?
Right.
That was one of the best things to ever happen.
It's also annoying when he's on the phone, but
yes. I'm
Tyler,
like,
get off the phone, dude.
Yeah. Like we got a couple hours, but like he's like, no, like this is fun.
Yeah.
He's like, embrace the work. And I'm like, oh, that's it. And he's like, yeah, it's not like it's a secret.
Yeah.
Like you got to embrace the work. And after that, our business skyrocketed hugely after that.
Yeah.
And it was just like, not like this is what our job is to like go out and go work it.
Yeah.
So that was but my wife will say, anytime you want to golf with Tyler, you're good because and I've told him, like, hey, I owe you, brother.
Well, and I also think it's great it's great relationship building with other real estate agents because Tyler's built a big name, but so have you. So that when your name comes across his desk or on a listing appointment, I guarantee Tyler's advocating for you as well. Like, hey, we can really help your business, but if you decide to go with Noah, great guy, runs a great business. Like now you have an advocate that's also a competitor, and I think that's what is really cool about this industry. Like, and you would say the same about him.
100%.
Like. I would say the same about both of you, so I'm glad I'm not a competitor. But like, I'd be like, hey man, both are great. You're not going to lose if you go with either one of them.
And I tell people all the time, and it's funny because that's that mentality. I think that you see the ones that do very, very, very well in business or life. It's like you want what's best for everybody, and it's happened. Like because we know a lot of the same people, but I'm like, hey, whether it's me or him or her, you're in good hands. Yeah. And at this point, it's kind of, you're dealing with personality, you're dealing with, we all have access to the same tools in the tool chest. I'm like, it's just who uses them in which way. But it is, it's not like, oh, they don't know what they're doing, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, like, you're in great hands either way. Like, now it's up to you on which path you want to go on. But, you get kind of that upper level and everybody is friends with everybody. You're like, oh man, they're great. Like I love working with them. And it's all fun and love and I think that promotes the business as a whole and everybody does better because of it.
It helps the industry. And there's plenty of business for everybody.
100%.
Like, there is so much real estate in this area. Everybody can be incredibly successful and not be at each other's throat.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, that dog eat dog, it's like it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I take care of my people. And, there's a few agents, we know a lot of the same people. And they'll even say, call Noah Carter. It's fine. Like, you're good either way. Talk with both of them, see which one's a better fit.
Yeah.
And it's nothing but good, positive things. And then if I get an opportunity to work with like a Tyler or somebody, and if clients ask, I'm like, hey, like, we know he does good work. He's very similar. I consider him like big brother.
Sure.
So it's I'm very appreciative of that relationship. But we've been on both sides. I've got some, he's got some.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, well, cool.
Yeah.
I'll see you on the next one.
Sure. Well, before we dive into the advice portion of it, I kind of want to just ask like what your thoughts are on the future. Like where do you see your business going in the next 5 years? Are you looking to grow? Are you looking to everybody can talk about transactions or volume but like teammates, like does your wife want to take a bigger role in the business? Do are you looking to expand at all, or how's that
so
overall view?
What that's funny you bring that up, because my broker and I were just talking about that heading into, I told her, because I've been with Remax now, I moved in July.
Yeah.
And I told her towards the end of the year, I said, just so you know, we meet once a year to go over what we've done, what we're going to do. She goes, oh yeah. I'm like, yeah, so next week pencil it in, because we're meeting. And that's something I've done every year, whether it was with Coldwell Banker or with Remax, because I just want a different set of eyes on what we're doing.
Yeah.
And because I feel like I've got a good outside perspective, like, don't look at it because it's a personal thing, like, is there something we can do better?
Yeah. And
so she had looked at it and everything we did, and she goes, honestly, like, you run a pretty tight ship. Like, it's efficient. There's really not a lot of fat on it to trim. And even when we were talking about ideas, I'm like, you're really grasping for straws right now, aren't you? She's like, yeah, like, what do you want me to tell you? Like, you do what everybody says to do.
Yeah.
And so we are looking at maybe adding a new agent. I think my wife, Heather, she loves her role, and it's just enough to where it keeps her busy, but also she runs the show at the house.
Yeah.
And as Blake gets older, being able to pick her up from school or sports, because that's why I'm trying to work really hard now and get those systems in place so I don't have to miss anything sports-wise.
Right.
So we are looking at adding another agent. To me, I don't necessarily want a big team. I want a quality team. And I know we've talked about him a lot, but Tyler, to me, he's got 3 people, an assistant, a buyer's agent, and him. And I love that setup, because growing doesn't necessarily mean more transactions. It could be more efficient. And, if everybody's got their number, and obviously more is better, but if you can make X amount and live the life that you want to live, now how efficient can you be doing that? So then you now have more time to be with family, or go golf, or take trips, or go hunting, or do whatever. So I do see myself, and I am a bit of a control freak. I think we all are.
Sure. So
I know I'm going to have to start giving up a little bit of that if we want to take the next step of growing. So I could see having a buyer's agent, but anything more than that, it's kind of like 2, maybe 3 people on a team total. But I'm like, if you've got the right people there, that's what's going to generate the business, rather than have a team of 8 and only 3 of them are actually doing anything.
Right.
Because you're just putting your effort into training rather than what's actually going to go out and make you money.
Right.
So and I know I'm hitting that point. I'm like, I'm not ready to give up all the control yet, but she goes, you're about at that point. I'm like, I know.
Yeah. If you had hair, you'd start losing it, my man.
I say, when I started, I had thick hair like you, and I'm like 3 years in, I'm like, it's gone.
That's funny.
That's awesome. Well, we do want to ask you some advice. Before we do, we always like to just thank our hosts here, Back to Back Ministries, for letting us use this awesome studio. Back to Back Ministries is a global nonprofit orphan care organization with their sights set on providing care for today and hope for every tomorrow. From Cincinnati, Ohio to Hyderabad, India, staff teams around the world are stepping into hard stories and choosing to stay. To learn more about the work Back to Back does, how you can get involved, and why a global team won't stop until every child is known and loved, visit backtoback.org today.
Yeah. We appreciate them. They do a lot of great work around the world and allow us to use their podcast studio. So thank you, Back to Back.
Yeah, it's a great setup in here too.
Yeah.
So with that said, what kind of advice do you have for buyers or sellers that you want to share?
So on buyers and sellers, I think there's a lot of things that go into the buying and selling process I don't think people either understand or appreciate. And so I always recommend, whether you are buying or you're selling, talk to a few different realtors and see who you feel comfortable with. If everything, on either side of the transaction, if everything goes according to plan, there's not a whole lot to do. About 95% of the time, things don't go according to plan.
Yeah.
So it's like, you want to roll the dice on that 5% that everything is smooth sailing. But knowing that you have somebody going to bat for you who is not afraid to stick up and negotiate and represent you, I think that is why, talk to a couple different people. And I tell people, I'm like, good, go talk to 3 or 4 agents. Like, if you want some other names to get a hold of, here you go, because if everything's going right, not a big deal. Half the time an agent probably don't even need to do anything. But when it goes wrong, and more times than not it's going to go wrong, who do you want there solving those issues, going to bat for you? We had joked before about, you got a guy for everything. It's because we've got those relationships. So whatever problem may arise, we try to be extremely proactive about it. And to make this transaction as smooth as possible. So we do a lot of things to be proactive rather than the reactive agent where they wait for it to happen and now they're playing catch up.
Yeah.
So we can eliminate a lot of those issues that come up by being proactive. So I think just talk to different agents, talk to different personalities. Experience is very hit or miss because, there's agents been doing it 35 years. I'm like, that doesn't mean you're necessarily good. It just doesn't mean you weren't bad enough to have to go get another career. But then there's other agents, they've been in it 3 or 4 years and they're killing it. Right. So I think you look at it as a whole. Don't rely just on experience or youth or what. Look at the big picture of things. Sure. And what kind of, talk about systems or kind of backing do they have to make sure if something or when something goes wrong, is that somebody that you're going to be comfortable with having your back and making sure your best interest is in mind?
Yeah.
Great. Absolutely.
Phenomenal.
Would you like to offer advice for agents as well, new agents?
I can do that. Yep. And with that, the first couple of years are going to be rough. But if you're going to do it, dive head first into it and understand you're going to take your licks. You're going to get beat up a little bit. But if you can make it through, that first 2 to 3 years, but you're fully committed, it's almost an investment into the rest of your life. And I think so many people, 80% of people that get licensed drop out.
Yep.
And it's normally in that first 18, 24 months. So it's like, dive head first, because if you dip a toe in, you're not going to swim.
Yeah.
You dive head first, you have no choice but to swim. And the way I'll describe it to people is, we talk about people know 7 different agents now, just social media and everything. Well, if they know 5 weekend warriors that have another job, and then they know 2 that are just full time, they make a career out of it, who are they going to call?
Right.
Who's the professional? So this is not a hobby, and if you're going to commit. But if you're just going to dip your toe in, or I sell a couple a year or this and that you're going to be gone.
Yeah.
And so it's if you're going to do it all the way,
right,
or go find something else to do.
Right.
So that's best advice I can give is if you're committed, go all in.
Good for you.
That's great advice.
Well, Noah, thank you for jumping on with us today, man. It's honestly been such a pleasure getting to know you, and honestly, it's really been kind of a breath of fresh air. You're not like a go hard, balls to the wall type of guy. You're very comfortable to talk to. You're very outgoing. You're a jack of all trades, like I said. So you've been a personality that's been really, really fun to be around and golf with and get to know the industry through. And in as fun as you are, you're also, the true professional as well. And I love that about you, man. Like when you need to turn it on, it's turned on. So, but when it's time to have fun, you have fun. So
got to, otherwise you go crazy.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being a part of this, man. We really appreciate you, and obviously love following your business. It's been really cool to see your growth.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you having me. It's been fun, and hopefully we can do it again. Hopefully get some warmer weather and do it.
We'll do the nightcap recap.
That's
with
right.
The bourbon, dude. So,
thanks for coming on.
Thank you. And Daniel, it was good to meet you. I really appreciate it. And Pat, always a pleasure, brother.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you.